Okay, we've got to watch this video. I love videos like this because you've got a bunch of women who think they're talking about how awful men are, but what they're actually revealing is how low their standards are, how terrible their choices are. I really don't think that the women in these videos understand just how poorly this reflects on them. Anyway, let's watch.
I got played by a guy that wanted me first. Woo! I got ghosted by my boyfriend of 8 months. Woo! Guys only want me for my ass. Woo! Both the guys I were talking to got girlfriends. Woo! The last guy I hooked up with doesn't remember my name. Woo! I just got a boyfriend.
Why do women date these type of men? What's motivating them? Let's explore this. Imagine a woman has a one-night stand with an awful guy, like he's rude to her, he's sexually selfish, he doesn't text her back. So what does she do? Does she take the L? Does she allow herself to be humbled? Like, whoops, that was a bad choice. Better make a better one next time. I feel ashamed of myself, and that's a good thing because that shame is going to prevent me from making bad decisions in the future. I don't want to feel that shame, so I'm not going to date these awful guys anymore. That's what some men do. They wake up in the morning after sleeping with some trashy girl in a one-night stand. They think, what was I thinking? Never again. I've got to learn from this mistake. And some women are the same. They own their mistake, they take responsibility, they learn their lesson, and then they move on. But some women, they choose a very different strategy. After sleeping with one of these awful guys, they decide to double down. To walk away, that would be to admit failure. That would mean I'd have to take responsibility, and then I'd be feeling that awful sensation of shame and regret. And I don't want to feel that feeling. That's really unpleasant. But you know what? I don't need to feel like I'm a failure until I admit defeat. If I keep trying with this man, then I haven't really failed yet. Who knows? If I end up winning and end up in a great relationship with this guy, then I've never failed, so I never have to feel those emotions. This is what so many women are banking on, justifying their terrible decisions in the past by succeeding in the future. Maybe some men in the audience can relate to this if you look at a different area of your life, like investing. You buy a business or some real estate property, or better yet, a stock, but you buy it recklessly. You didn't do your due diligence. You put way too much money in, and the investment is just going down in value. Some guys sell at a loss, all right? They take the L, they go, whoops, that was a huge mistake. I've learned my lesson. I better not do that again next time. Other guys double down. They hold on to the investment, even as they watch its value plummet, but they say, I haven't really sold yet. It could recover. Things get better. I don't need to admit defeat or feel like a failure yet until I actually call an end to this, but I'm just going to keep going, keep trying, keep believing. Understand that's how some women are with men, okay? She invests too much. She sleeps with the wrong guy, and it turns out he's a jerk. He's selfish. He doesn't put in any effort, but she thinks, I don't want to feel like I made a mistake, like I'm a failure. I don't want to take responsibility for that yet. So I'm just going to double down. I'm going to keep trying with this guy because who knows, things could get better. And so she stays with him. She continues to sleep with him, and she tries to change him. Now, part of that is playing out the female fantasy that so many women's romance novels are written about. You know, finding that dark, mysterious scoundrel sort of man and then civilizing him with her femininity. But part of it is just more basic than that, in that she simply doesn't want to admit her mistake. She doesn't want to take responsibility. She doesn't want to feel like a failure. Her ego is too fragile to take the L, and so she keeps trying with him. She keeps sleeping with him. Maybe the more time that I spend with him, I'll discover that he has all these hidden depths and that he's actually secretly a really great guy and there's potential for a relationship there. If that turns out to be true, then it wasn't a bad choice for me to sleep with him originally, and so I don't need to feel bad about what I did. Maybe over time I can change him. I can turn him into the perfect man, and that will vindicate me. You see what women are doing here? They're using an imagined future to try and justify the past. She thinks that so long as she continues to sleep with him, then that choice to have that one-night stand with him at the beginning, that can't be judged in isolation. Whether or not that was a good choice depends entirely on how things turn out in the future. Who knows, that choice could turn out to be the best choice that she ever made. If she manages to turn him into the perfect man, then thank God she had that one-night stand. But can you see in this painfully ironic way that the worse that he acts in the aftermath, the more selfish, the more greedy, the more he takes her for granted, the less effort he puts in, it can actually have the effect of strengthening her bond to him, because it makes makes the initial choice that she made to sleep with him so much worse. Like, oh God, he's such a terrible guy, which of course increases the feeling of regret, of failure, of shame. But with such negative emotions also comes the strong desire to push those emotions away. Nuh-uh, I do not want to feel those. This is turning into a really huge mistake. And so I really need this to work out. I really need to keep trying, really need to change him. The stakes are so much higher. She has to make the relationship work now because otherwise it's just going to crush her. If you've ever wondered why that girl that you have a crush on is seemingly continuing to sleep with and have a relationship with a guy who objectively seems like an awful jerk, this could be the explanation. Her feminine instincts got caught up in the moment and she slept with one of these bad boy jerk men, and she's so embarrassed by her choice, but she can't admit it, and so she just keeps on trying in order to try and justify that mistake. I tell you this, if you're ever competing with another man for a woman, if she has slept with that other man and she hasn't slept with you, it's very unlikely that you're going to succeed, even if you're better suited for her, even if she likes you better, because psychologically, women don't want to feel like they've made mistakes. And if it was just a one-night stand, she really doesn't want to feel like a slut. Psychologically, women can't really deal with that sort of self-image, and so they continue to try and have a relationship with this guy, try and sleep with him more often to prove to themselves that this wasn't a cheap one-night stand with the wrong guy. No, this was a relationship. So if she slept with the other guy and not you, you're facing an uphill battle. Even though she might prefer you, choosing you over him means that she needs to take responsibility for her choice to sleep with that guy. Lots of women don't want to do that. Understand this, that for a woman, when she sleeps with a man, there are now two relationships that are at stake. It's the relationship with the man she slept with, but also her relationship with herself. That's the message that I'm trying to get across in this video, is that when women are making seemingly destructive choices in their dating life, it's often because they're trying to preserve a positive self-image and a good relationship with themselves. They're trying to justify their choices because they just can't handle the shame that comes from an honest accounting of their own behavior. Of course, I don't mean to present this as though men are somehow morally superior to women. Don't get me wrong, men sleep with lots of women that they shouldn't, but they don't seem to feel that ashamed by it. I've made videos in the past exploring why I'm not a big fan of male promiscuity. I'll put a link to those down below if you haven't seen those yet. But at a fundamental biological level, my judgment is never going to be too severe because at our core, men do have a desire for sexual novelty. Maybe you've heard of the research that shows that when watching pornography, men's arousal goes down and down, 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 down until a new girl comes on screen or a new act, something that's shocking and exciting, and then our arousal just jumps through the roof. It's the spread your seed part of our biology that's just hardwired to sleep with new women. A lot of men struggle with this instinct and they worry that it's going to compromise their ability to be monogamous or committed in a relationship. And that's what I talked about in my latest Patreon video. I explored all aspects of this male desire for sexual novelty and how to actually work with it. If it's something that you've struggled with and you need some advice, then please head over to my Patreon. It only costs $7 and you get access to that video plus like 300 other videos in my back catalog, all sorted by topics and category. For every video I post here on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon, which means that at the moment you're only seeing half of my total content. Come over to Patreon if you want to see the other half. And if you're looking for specific advice about what's going on in your personal world, in your dating life, in your relationships, and you want to get my thoughts, hit me up on Hey Hero, tell me what's going on, and I'll respond to you with a personalized video giving you all of my advice. Or maybe you're sick of just hearing theory, like, oh, this is all just a bunch of ideas. I don't understand how this is actually going to apply in real world situations. Or if that's the issue that you're facing, then head over to my paid course, 100 Sides of Women, because it's exactly what you're looking for. This course features 10 real stories, heaps of different situations, heaps of different people, and I show how all of this information actually applies in real dating and relationship situations. There's 6.5 hours of video footage, 100 questions. You get to test your own knowledge. Plus, I give you all of the answers. There's a 100% money back guarantee. There's a free trial available. There's a link in the description box below to a video that explains how the whole course works.